Hi guys! Today I'll be showing you how I went about redesigning my OCs. You may have noticed I'm looking a little bit more detailed than before. As cute as my talking sprite was, I wanted to reflect my recent art style a bit more. But to save time on drawing a bunch of those emotes again, I'm trying a new program. I hope you guys like it. Let me know. Today I'll be redesigning 3 of my main characters in my fantasy story I'm developing: Fendrig, Nymphrea, and Khaskian. My fantasy story is still nameless as I'm very particular about that, but I have been developing it in my mind palace for about 3 years now. It's between this story and a superhero one that I've been flipping between them, slowly expanding, tweaking, developing. And guys, it's got magic, it's got pirates, daddy issues,
mommy issues, more daddy issues.
Anyway, I'd love to eventually write a novel for this story, but that involves, actually writing it and stuff, so This isn't my first time designing these characters, as I've had them for a long time. They've had many iterations, so I'm saying this as I won't be starting completely from scratch. Okay, I'll stop yapping. Let's just get into the redesigns. We'll start with Nymphrea, who is my main character we follow. My story has a couple time skips, so I'll just be designing her first iteration today. I started by drawing just a base for the character that I can build off of. Also, so if I ever want to create those other sheets for her other outfits, it's way easier. She's half witch and half hound. These are 2 species in my story. Witches are normal people who possess magic. They kind of look like elves with tattoos and tribal symbols, and hounds are creatures created to hunt them. Being the mix of those 2 species is very odd, but it's important to the story. She's quite shy in the beginning and a bit of a gentle soul, so I used her hair to give her that shy girl look. Now about the design, I created some small sketches to start playing with the ideas I had for her. If this was a new character, I'd recommend having a lot more of a play with the potential silhouettes and concepts. I loved both of these concepts so much, I decided to do a poll on my Instagram to see what you guys think, as I literally couldn't pick. P.S. You should totally follow me on Instagram if you're not already. And the winner was this one. I decided that the cape poncho thing would be something she takes on and off, so I wouldn't actually include it in the final design, but that is something she would have. Her story begins when Fendrig and other hounds ambush her tribe's home. They burn huts down and kill anyone who fight back. It's only when Fendrig recognizes a witch, Nymphrea's mum, that Fen makes a shocking discovery of his daughter. ... Nymphrea. I'll talk more about it in Fen's section. I had many references from native cultures in different countries. As witches in my story have a lot of culture and spirituality, it's really important to them. But because they're living in hiding, they don't have access to the more city folk attire, so I had to keep that in mind with how she would dress. And my Pinterest board for this was extensive, so I spent most of the time just trying to find interesting references and taking pieces here and there. Nymphrea is from a small tribe of witches along the southern coast of the province Skern. It's a warmer climate, so I kept that in mind when designing her clothing, so she wouldn't die of heat stroke, basically. I wanted to combine different shapes into a design to show a contrast in her that exists. In my story, her being a hybrid is very significant, so I needed to show it visually. I chose X's and O's. X's represents the hounds as they're scary and sharp, but the O's represent her witch side. As witches tend to be gentle and one with nature, the O just feels a lot more inviting. It gets to the point with my designs where I'm like, when in doubt, just put more shape in there. It makes the overall design way more cohesive and makes you look way smarter than you are. I associate her with the colour purple and blue, so I was pretty set on that to begin with, but I still played around with a bunch of different colours and values until I found one that I was satisfied with. You would have noticed her hair has been in these long braids the whole time. Honestly, I'm not sure what triggered that, as normally I've had her hair out, but I drew this sketch of Nymphrea and I was like, yes! And that was actually what made me want to do this whole thing and redesign them all. But here she is! I'm pretty happy with it, but I really want to do more versions of her now, because she does change quite a bit throughout the story. Next we have Khaskian Gold. He was found by a crew of pirates called the Crimson Crew, with a bloodied eye and no memories of who he was. The Captain Vane took him in and raised him, and that's why his last name is Gold. I know, not super crazy inventive, but it does, gold is significant in his character, so it fits. Growing up in the pirate lifestyle, he is a free spirit and is quite the thief. He definitely took some inspiration from Flynn Rider, and I can't deny that. Cass and the rest of the Crimson Crew discover Fendrig and Nymphrea, and they actually end up helping them. Cass was the easiest for me out of the trio. I feel like his design was already pretty close to what I wanted, so a lot of his redesign was refining the shape language. His shape was a triangle, so I wanted a lot of sharp shapes. I also changed his colour palette as I wanted him and Nymphrea to contrast each other. So instead of blue and blue, blue and red, you know? And yes, they are soulmates. I'm just gonna tell you right off the bat. I'm not even gonna try to like hide it. So here he is. Woohoo! Last one. Fendrig. Oh, Fendrig. He's very dear to me. He represents a lot of those father figure type characters in media who is at first very apprehensive because of their grisly demeanor, but ultimately cares deeply about the people around them. He's a very complicated man who has done some pretty bad things, but I think that's interesting. Where my story begins, Fendrig is jaded and a withered hound. Bro is tired. He's been cursed with nightmares of a witch he secretly courted in his youth. P.S. That witch, of course, is Nymphrea's mom. His design was the most difficult because designing men's clothes is already really hard for me, but fantasy clothes are even harder because it's just like something so far from me. But I tried my best. I used some of that shape. I used some of the X shapes since he's a hound, but his overall shape actually kind of became a square, representing his sturdy and strong character. His color palette was very simple, as he's not meant to really stand out. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to delve into the complexities of how the hounds came to be and more about my story, but let me know if you're interested. I'd love to make a video explaining some lore for you all. And here he is. I hope you like him. And with that, I've finished all my redesigns. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Please give it a like if you enjoyed the video, and let me know what other stuff you want to see from me. Until next time, bye!
Bye!